reminder of your cell phones, if you wouldn't mind to check those real quick. Save all of us the embarrassment. I want to check my own. That would be really bad. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. This is the August 27th, 2024 Hardin County Fiscal Court regular voting meeting. Let's begin and call this meeting to order. And start with a roll call.
Squire Clem. Here. Squire Hicks.
Here.
Squire Muse.
Here.
Squire Pennington.
Here.
Squire Saltzman.
Here.
Squire Thompson.
Here.
Squire Whitehead.
Here.
Squire Yates.
Here.
Judge Tall.
Here. Next, we'll have our invocation by Magistrate Muse and Pledge of Allegiance by Magistrate Yates.
Please stand. In the name of the Father, of the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Dear Lord, we thank you for this beautiful day. We thank you for this great country we live in and the privileges we enjoy. We thank you for giving us this opportunity to gather today to improve our county. Help us make wise decisions and work together to make this the best county in the state to work and live. Please guide our first responders as they perform their duties and watch over our servicemen and women as they protect our country. We humbly ask that you bring peace to our country and throughout the world. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, well, again, thanks for joining today. I'll just do a quick review of the agenda here. We'll have our typical vote on the last fiscal court meeting minutes. We have some informational items to go through today. Several items regarding some various tax rates that we'll have, and then I have a presentation on our tax rate. Have a time for a public hearing that we'll go through. We'll have some department and office reports, some presentations. After that, we'll have some time for citizens' concerns or comments. We have our the property tax rate resolution that we need to vote on. And then we have several items in the consent agenda that I'll cover briefly before we vote on those, and then our typical comments after that. All right, so I don't have anything else really to review, so I will move right on into approval of Hardin County Fiscal Court August 13th, 2024 minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, we have a roll call.
Squire Clem.
Yes.
Squire Hicks.
Yes.
Squire Muse.
Yes.
Squire Pennington.
Yes.
Squire Saltzman.
Yes.
Squire Thompson.
Yes.
Squire Whitehead.
Yes.
Squire Yates.
Yes.
Judge Tall.
Yes, motion passes. Okay, we'll move on into our next item, informational items. So our first one on here is one of my favorites. We have a check donation today from Hardin County Farm Bureau for the large animal disposal. I think Jason Buckles is here to do that today.
Good evening, Fiscal Court. My name is Jason Buckles. I'm here with the board of Hardin County Farm Bureau and Farm Bureau, and we are here to contribute to the large animal disposal program that the county is running, and this check is for $2,000. Now, $1,000 of that is for this year, and $1,000 of it is for last year. Something happened. We think it got lost in the mail. So anyway, the check is for $2,000, and this is for our commitment to helping defray the cost of large animal disposal in the county and helping the community. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you very much. You got that check with you? Okay.
Could just walk out.
I'll be happy to take that. you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jason.
Are you sure that's made out to the county and not Keith Tall?
I asked twice.
Okay.
Thank you guys for your commitment.
It's not to me. Okay. All right, yeah, thank you so much. All right, next on the agenda is the property tax rates. We'll have, first up is Hardin County Soil Conservation, Vincent Thompson.
Good evening, everybody. How y'all doing?
Doing good, thank you.
Doing well. Glad to see you all at the ham breakfast the other day. I noticed none of y'all stuck your hand up and bid on it like I did, and I sat there with my hands under my legs, so it was a little bit too high for me, but
When they
appreciate
started at
y'all.
100, when they started at 100,000, it kind of left me out.
Yeah, it was beyond my place. Of course, we got our Farm Bureau members here, and I saw most of them up there as well. It was a good turnout. So, typical routine, we just come in to present our annual report to y'all. You should have that in your packets, and I'll entertain any questions you might have about it. And then our tax rates, we have opted to not take the compensating rate this year.
Okay. Can you tell us what the rate is then?
It's 0.015.
And last year it was,
I don't remember the exact amount. It was
I think it was 0.02, I believe.
Yeah, we raised it up just a fraction last year.
Right. Okay.
So, and then also I always have the use of the taxpayers' money listing. If y'all allow me to go through some of that, I'd appreciate it.
Please do.
All right. So last year we had the art and writing contest. We had 43 art participants, 13 essay. That's always awarded at our annual banquet in March. So some of y'all are able to attend. We appreciate having you. Next year we hope to have more of you. We gave away 10 scholarships, 5 for high school and 5 for college. Then we're also, we started helping with some hospice patients this last time around. We had 20 participants in that program. The tree seedling giveaway, we gave away 2,800 trees last time. We're looking to maybe increase that this time around. So we'll be looking for that in April. Progressive Safety Day, that was held at Creekside. We also sponsor 4 kids in the 4-H FFA Youth Completion Show at the Hardin County Fair. We have 2 students for Conservation Camp scholarships. We try to help some people that try to go to that every year. And then also we do 2 students for 4-H camp. We have the education material we use to teach students about conservation, such as summer camps. This last time around, Marcia attended a Down syndrome camp and also one at Cecilia Valley. The farmers market, winter markets, back to school bashes. And then we have had an ag day at Lakewood Elementary School this last year. We try to do as many of those as possible each year. Cecilia Valley Club Day once a month, so that's a monthly thing for Marcia. We also are open to sponsoring high tunnels at schools. We have one at Meadowview up in the north part of the county, but we'd be happy to entertain any schools that would like to get that program going for some of their students for biology or ag-related issues. Farm City Day, are always a sponsor of that. Then we also supported the Central Hardin High School land judging team. I don't remember what place they came in Kansas City, but it helps those students get out there. So, as you can see, money at work, and anybody, you're welcome to look at our details. You're open to come to the meetings. We welcome anybody that wants to come in. So,
Okay. Any questions?
Vincent, what kind of program do you have in place to help the hospice patients?
So this was just new to me this morning when I found out that Marcia had been involved with it. So I'm not familiar with the details of the program. When I saw it, I was like, I didn't realize that we had actually participated in that, but I would love to see that grow.
I don't know. I didn't know if it was, just, contribution-wise, or if there was a program in place to do something. That's great, though, regardless.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I like, it's really nice that you're involved in helping hospice, too. Thank you.
Where we can benefit.
Hey, Vincent, I know you all obviously have a good partnership with the county schools. Have you all experienced any with the city schools, or see if there's any interest from?
We've had some participation, usually through the art and writing contest, given that when Marcia, we order a pamphlet that comes in, and each of these teachers are given, it's essentially like 5 free lesson plans, and I don't know any teacher, my wife, any lesson plan that was given to her, she didn't plan herself. It's, almost a godsend. So that's a week of time that these teachers can take over. But we're happy to discuss with E-10 Independent about the High Tunnel or anything, any program we can be involved with. We'd like to be there.
Any other comments, questions? Just appreciate all that you guys do. I've attended a few of your all's board meetings, and I'm always pleased and excited to see all the activities and things that you guys participate in, especially whenever you're out there helping some of our young people with, some of the awards and things that you are, scholarships and things that you are doing. It's very good work, so thank you very much.
I think Senator McConnell was speaking about it at Farm Bureau Ham Breakfast that we're becoming a minority as far as agricultural representation, and we got to start at the ground if we got to plant the seeds.
That's right.
Thank you all.
All right, thank you. All right, next up is Lincoln Trail District Health Department.
So I'm Melissa Phillips on behalf of the Health Department, and mine's going to be real short and sweet. On June 20th of this year, the Hardin County Board of Health, as part of their annual meeting, set the tax rates for the upcoming year. And for personal property, real property, and motor vehicle, those were all set at 2.2 cents per $100 assessed value, and that was no change from the previous year.
All right, very good.
Have any questions?
Any questions? All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, if we want to pull up the presentation. All right. So here's our proposed county tax rate, and we'll just start rolling through here. I have several slides, but I won't spend much time on them. The purpose is to provide the recommendation for 2024 county property tax rates. We'll have kind of an introduction of that, and then timeline, methodology of how that's done, a summary of the methodology at least, 2024-25 fiscal year budget summary, and then a recommendation, and then we'll wrap up with the summary. The introduction here is basically several steps that we go through to set the tax rates. Just a note that the property tax revenue is our largest funding mechanism used by the Fiscal Court to pay all the bills. Tax rates are set annually, and they are governed by Kentucky revised statutes. This does not include school or city tax rates. These are levied by their governing bodies. The county PVA sends an assessment information to the Department of Revenue. Department of Revenue then certifies the assessment and sends to the Department for Local Government. And then the Department for Local Government calculates the compensating and the 4% real property rates and mails the information to us. And then we have 45 days from that date to Department of Revenue certification to set a real rate as well as calculate and set personal property tax rate. And in addition to that, a public hearing is required to be advertised for 2 consecutive weeks. So again, just want to reiterate that today we are talking about the county property taxes, and we are not talking about school tax rates. Those are levied by the school board. The state tax rates, we are not doing anything with that. Those are levied by the state legislature, and any of the city tax rates, of course, are taken care of by the various city councils. So today we'll look primarily at the two in the blue boxes, the real property tax and the personal property tax. That's what we are proposing to set today. There'll be mention of these other property taxes that we do not set, and you heard a couple of those presented today of those folks that are setting their own tax rates. But we will have that in those rates that we have thus far will be in the resolution, and we'll acknowledge those but we do not set those. So the timeline, July 26th is when we got the tax roll certified, and that's when the 45-day countdown begins. August 10th, we had the first advertisement for a public hearing, and then the second one on August 17th. And then today we have we'll have the public hearing for tax rates during this meeting, and then we'll have presentation of the tax rates by the special purpose government entities, which we had 2 of those today. One we'll have at their next meeting because they didn't have theirs set yet. And then we will set the tax rates today. So how are these calculated? Well, it's an interesting process, to say the least. But I will say that we have 2 options basically to deal with. There are others, but generally speaking, we have one that we call compensating, and that basically is no increase. It generates approximately the same amount of tax revenue as the previous year, exclusive of any new properties. This one does not require a hearing, and for those that really love math, the number, it's rounded up to the next 1/10 of 1%. The other option is the 4% increase. This generates 4% more revenue than the compensating, and it does require a hearing process, and it is rounded down to the next 1/10 of 1 cent. And over to the far right, very small letters, so you can't read that. But basically, if anybody's interested, I'd be happy to send you a copy of it, and you can study it. But this is the letter, to us, basically outlining all of the real estate values and assessments and all the different numbers that we need to calculate with. And then this slide shows the actual rate calculation worksheet that is used to determine what the tax rate will be, given all the assessments and everything else. So it's all plugged into this worksheet and kicks out the tax rates. And I'd have a little bit of a history there for your information. In 2022, the tax rate, we used the compensating rate at 11.6 cents per $100 value. And then last year, in 2023, our tax rate, we used a 4% revenue increase that resulted actually in a reduction of the tax rate, if you remember last year at this time. And that came down to 11.3 cents. And then this year, we are looking, we've got the two options here. The rate for the compensating which is no additional revenue, would be 10.7 cents. And then the rate for the 4% revenue increase is at 11.1 cents. What this means as far as dollars, the compensating or the no increase for real estate at 11.1% would be estimated at a little over, $9.2 million. If you add the tangible personal property tax, that adds another $1 million. So the total would be $10.3 million. With the 4% revenue increase, you can see the difference there at 9.56 million, 1.1, and then a total of 10.7 million. And then you can see the difference between the two. If we were able to collect 100% of that, of this property tax, then we would see a difference on the real estate of $345,000, and then the personal property tax at $41,000, which totals about $386,000 more income from taxes that would come in with the 4% increase. Then if we take it one step further and estimate how sometimes we, every year there's a certain number of people that don't pay their taxes. And so we compensate for that and estimate. And also there's a there's about a 4% collection rate by the sheriff's office. And if you put those together, we can estimate about 92.2% of the taxes will actually reach us that we can actually use, okay? So if we calculate that, and now if we compare that to what we have budgeted for this year, and we did the best we could, and Lisa does a lot of that, estimation, and trying to do the best that we possibly can to estimate for budgeting at real estate at $8.6 million. And if we move on straight down the line, 4% revenue increase. If we take that option, we should come in about $8.8 million, and that would put us about $230,000 more than what we budgeted. And then if we use the compensating, with no increase in revenue, we come at 8.5, which we would be in a deficit of $87,000. And if we look at so we can do the same thing with the personal property tax at 1.1, we estimated or budgeted, and then 4%, we come in slightly under that, about $58,000 under it. So we kind of overestimated on the budget. At least that's what the numbers look like right now. And then if we took the compensating, then that would be close to $100,000 under budget. And if we just add those numbers up, our 4% revenue, if we take that option, then we'll end up with about $172,000 estimated that we would have above our budget. So pretty close, really. And then if we take the compensating, then we would come out about the same amount under budget. And and at the very bottom line there, it's just showing the difference between the 4% and the compensating rate. And you can see how much of a difference. We're about total of the two types of the property tax, about $350,000 more money that we can bring in this year if we take the 4%. Okay, I just want to take just a moment and just review our budget and go on to the next slide. And you can see here, this is a slide out of the presentation that I did back whenever that was, back in May, whenever we were looking at adopting, why can I say that? Adopting our budget. So you can see there that just to bring to mind that our budgets are pretty rough. Okay, so we've got significantly more expenses than we have revenue that's coming in, and again, a lot of that revenue is coming from property tax, and so you can see there that we are having to balance our budget basically with a one-time payment that came from BOSC in lieu, a payment in lieu of occupational taxes for all the folks that are working out there. So that's kind of where we're at with this. Just a reminder that we're having to do that this year. Go on to the next slide. Also, just kind of a snapshot of where the budget is, and not just the budget, but where our finances are for the county. We are investing a lot of money into some ambulances, as you can see there. Just a reminder that these are in our budget this year. We do still have around $9 million of unrestricted cash reserves. We also will have, whenever another payment comes in, first of next year, about $6.6 million from the HMH hospital sale. And this year, we're not using any of that to balance the budget. And then we've also, like I mentioned before, the pilot agreement that we've received $6 million already, and we'll have $2 more million that will come to us at the end of this year. And so again, we are using about half of that probably, and I'm hoping that our budget will have more revenue and less expenses, and we won't have to use all that money to balance it. But Worst case, we will be using about half of that this year. Just a few notes on what this budget looked like. We have equipment upgrades that I just mentioned for ambulances that are pretty expensive, and we've also got an emergency services study that's going on right now, kind of an update that we have all the data input into that. It's a very extensive study, so it took a couple months just to pull all the data from our ambulance, our EMS, 911, and also all of our fire departments out in the county. So all that has been completed, and we'll have a visit by this third party that's doing the study here in the next probably couple of weeks, and they'll come and here, and they'll be putting their eyes on everything so that they can assess it properly. And we should have the results of that by the end of the year is our target. As far as safety and growth, we've got a sheriff's budget that has increased close to $600,000. We are subsidizing that office by $3.4 million. Our detention center subsidy increased a lot, and we're about $4.5 million subsidy. And so you can just kind of see that these are investments in the safety of our county. Next. Bridges, roads, obviously we've got a lot of infrastructure and assets out there in the county that we need to take care of. It all costs a lot of money. We have a replacement subsidy of $310,000 that we have in our budget this year, $675,000 state funds that are paving Upper Colesburg and New Salem roads. So we're thankful for that money. An annual right-of-way mowing contract, just to, that all costs money, and we've got 3 mowings that we do, that we pay for. We have some process improvements, focus on improvement of a new road and maintenance processes and standards. We recently had, I would add bridges to that, had a good training that several of us went to, our engineer and myself and Dwight Morgan, our road supervisor primarily, and we went to that training, and it was required for us to get funds for bridges. And we have quite a few bridges out there. They define a bridge as a 20-foot span or more. And so the push is that we have some money set aside in our budget to go out and do maintenance on these bridges. The tendency for a lot of counties, and maybe even including Hardin County, is that we don't do any maintenance, and then the bridges deteriorate year after year, and the substructure deteriorates. And the next thing you know, the only alternative is to go under and spend a lot of money to replace it. So we want to try to do a better job of maintaining our bridges so that we don't have to replace those bridges as often. Okay, and then just a few other items here. This is the last slide on the budget, but, investing in our people, a 2% COLA. Communication transparency, we're still working on a new website that will be up and running. We're targeting that at the end of the year. Infrastructure, we have a big study that's going on right now on a sewer study in the southern part of Hardin County. We have broadband expansion that we're looking at and investing some ARPA money to get some of the broadband and fiber optic speeds out into the western part of the county. We're also working with a provider to go after the BEAD money that's available through the federal government, and I'm hopeful that we'll be able to get enough money into our county to take care of all of our unserved and underserved residents. I believe right now we have about 6,000 residents that fall into that category. We have added 1 person to our animal care, and also our library. We've increased this year $80,000. So these are some of the highlights. But I guess to take away from that is that we need the revenue As I said, if we take this 4% increase, then we would end up with about $350,000 more than we would otherwise. And you can see that we actually need more than $350,000, but it will be very helpful. So the recommendation is to adopt the real property tax rate at the 4% increase. And this results in a tax rate of 11.1 cents per $100 valuation for real property. This will lower, actually it ended up lowering our current real property rate and our current personal property rates of 11.3 down to 11.1 cents per $100 valuation. What this means in dollars is that we will end up with, for the real estate property tax alone, at gross revenue at 9.5, our estimated actual revenue at 92.2% collection rate at $8.8 million. Just a quick slide here just to show kind of what this means for any of us that have property. It will mean very little. So if you have $100,000 worth of property, our tax rate is already pretty low at 11.3, and it's $113 is what you would pay. And at 11.1, which is the proposed new rate, slightly lower, we save $2, okay, for a $100,000 investment in property or valuation in property. So if you just extrapolate that, if it's $400,000 property, then you're paying with this new rate $444, and which is down $8 from what it would be otherwise. So not a lot of change there, obviously. I do want to make one note. If we could go back to that just real quick. There's been some questions about, okay, well, what about if my property is valued 50% higher, or, a big change in the value of my property, which I think most of us have seen that. If we have a house, PVA comes around, and next thing you know, you're paying at a higher valuation of your home. And I just want to say that PVA is run by the state. This court has nothing to do with what they do and how they do it. They supply us with the valuations, and then we use that valuation of the property to apply this tax rate to that. Okay. So just want to separate that a little bit because I think there has been a little bit of confusion about it. Okay, next slide. So this slide is an attempt to kind of summarize everything. It's the last slide. And it shows the real property, real estate tax rates. The ones that we're looking at today is the top one. It's 11.1 cent per $100 valuation. But you can see what the health department has proposed. It's no change. It's 2.2 cents. The soil conservation came in at 0.15 cents, and that's actually down some from the previous year. The cooperative extension service, I just left the 1.8. They have not submitted their rate yet. I think they will here in the next couple of days. And so we'll have to vote on or have that in a resolution that we basically are adopting that, or I can't think of the right word. We're not the ones that are setting those rates, is what I'm trying to get across. So, but we have to at least acknowledge these rates because they will be assessed on the when the sheriff goes around and collects these. So for the real property tax. Now the tangible personal property you can see are pretty much the same there. Again, the cooperative extension service hasn't given us their new rate yet. So that's what it was last year, 2.48. Motor vehicles, watercraft, and aircraft, again, these are not set, any of those three are not set by this court, but that's what they will be. Again, Cooperative Extension Service, I haven't got that one yet, but that one was set at 1.46 last year. And then the wooded acreage is at 2 cents, fire protection fund that's set by the state legislature. And then over on the left-hand side was an attempt to try to show those, again, Hardin County School. You can see what their rates are at 65 cents and 54 cents. That's what they were last year. We tried to get that rate, but they haven't actually set those yet, or at least they're not available to us. So that's the 2023 rates. Kentucky state real property tax rate has been set for 2024 at 10.9 cents, down a little bit from the previous year. And then the only city that we were able to get was Elizabethtown. They're set at 11 cents. And then Radcliffe last year was 14.7. I think Mayor JJ, he said that they were going to be setting that here in the next couple of weeks, what their new rate will be. So that kind of gives you a snapshot of all the various different tax rates that are out there. All right, I think that's it, right? It's the last slide? All right, very good. Okay, so we'll move on then to our next item on the agenda, and that's our public hearing. I'll turn it over to our county attorney, Jenny Ogle.
Thank you, Judge. BK, if you don't mind to go to that last slide, and we'll just keep that up there, that last one that had the rates. We'll have something to refer to if the public needs it. Okay, so according to Kentucky law, we are to advertise the rates, the proposed rates by the county, and to hold a public hearing for input. Just to explain, and Judge Tall has mentioned, you will see in Resolution 2024-173, two portions of that resolution talk about levying, which is what the Fiscal Court will actually vote on, the rate, as you see there, the real property rate that the county is levying. And then you will see acknowledge for purposes of both the Health Department and the Soil Conservation District. Normally you see a third one there, which would be the Cooperative Extension Service. They are not voting on their rates until later this week, so we'll come back in and acknowledge those. So we are not setting the rates for those other taxing authorities. We are just acknowledging those in the record. If those taxing authorities were to ever request more than the compensating rate, then Fiscal Court would actually be voting on those, whether to approve those or not. It's kind of a little bit of a, I think, legally complicated way of doing things. And I say that, and then the Health Department is actually an exception even to that exception. So there's always exceptions to the exceptions. These rates were advertised on both August 10th and the 17th in the News Enterprise. And so if anyone is here and would like to have input and make comment on those proposed rates, you've heard Judge Tall's proposal. You see it here on the screen. If you would come up to the podium, state your name. You don't have to give your street address, but if you would state, the town or where you live in Hardin County, we just want to make sure we're getting Hardin County resident local input. So, anyone? No one? Okay. All right, seeing no one, that is the end of the hearing. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, we will move on to the next item. That is, so we have some presentations today. We'll start with our coroner, Pat Elmore.
Good evening, Judge, members of the court, members of the audience. Tonight I have June and July's activity report. Just kind of go down our case numbers. We worked a total of 90 cases, 4 accidents, drowning, motor vehicle collision, a fall that resulted in the death, and of course, the overdoses. We worked 83 naturals, 2 suicides, and we have 1 undetermined, which that would probably be tox related. So for July, we worked a total of 75 cases, accidents, 1 drowning, 5 died from a motor vehicle collision, and 1 result of a house fire. 62 naturals, 2 suicides, and 4 pending. So this shows our activity for the last 4 years. Of course, autopsies, this year we've had a surge in autopsies because we have a lot of cases that are undetermined, just some odd circumstances. And then, of course, cremations, they're down just a little bit, but that's just due to some of the cases that we've had that chose another method. We had one county case so far this year. EMS has transported 6 folks for us, and we've transported 91 through the coroner's transport. Overdoses is the next slide. Of course, you know, for the last 4 years, we had 50, 55, 37, and 19, but I understand 19 is just for the last 5 months. So we're on track and maybe exceeding those numbers again this year. That's a number that we're trying to get a handle on just a little bit. Residencies of decedents, kind of, again, it just follows the population, Elizabethtown, Radcliffe, and all the unincorporated areas there. A couple of quick items before we get into see any questions. Tonight I have with me a person we've onboarded as our quick response officer, Justin Blair. Justin is back here in the back. As you know, Justin just came on board. This is a position that was created through court and some funds to help with responding to some of the drug overdoses and assisting with counseling and so forth. So we're excited to have Justin on board, and thanks again for the courts, from all the department heads for allowing us to have Justin in our office. We're really excited about that. We'd invite anybody that would like to come over and take a visit with him. He's got a lot of plans and a lot of things. We're trying to get the team going, so welcome, Justin. The last thing is our truck update. We now have our second transport vehicle, so hopefully that'll take some more strain off EMS. It was delivered and it's now being outfitted, so hopefully in the next week to 10 days we should have that on the road, and I'll report that progress as it progresses. So, are there any questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Welcome, Justin. Good news about the second vehicle. All right, thank you. Next, Sheriff John Ward.
Good afternoon, Judge, Magistrates, Clerk, County Attorney, and fellow Hardin County friends. Sheriff's report for June and July. 214 arrests, 182 citations issued, 117 warrants served, 620 civil papers, 853 complaint calls, 44 accidents investigated, 34 criminal cases, 1,784 other activities, 131 school safety checks, 85 violation warnings, 1,568 attempts to serve. In office operations, we had 72 records checks, 97 concealed carry permits, 1,219 vehicles inspected. Court transportation, we had 65 adults transported to court, 6 juveniles, and 72 in-state transports. That concludes my report. Does anyone have any questions? Thank you.
Thanks, Sheriff. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to step up and do the financials if I may.
Okay.
I'm going to pass these around. I'm doing this and not getting those. It's kind of boring, to be honest with you, but we will go over them. If you'll go to page, actually it's page 1. It'll be your second page, but it is page 1. And we'll talk about our revenues first. For June and July, our revenue for total for the sheriff's revenues were for June was $1,991,196, and the main part of that revenue, of course, was the fiscal court supplement that we received in June. And there were some other things besides the supplement that we received, but that was our main part.
And our revenues for July was $768,000, and that was because we had a large payment come from the Hardin County School Board for our SROs. And if you'll look the previous months, we didn't have anything near that. The revenues didn't touch anything near that. So those were our two best months thus far. Now, if you look at page 1, which is page 2, go back to page 2, those are our disbursements. And in June and July, you will see that, again, our major disbursements are payroll, and both of those each month runs about $550,000 each month. And then, again, we can say our gasoline runs right between $19,000 to $20,000 per month is what our gasoline runs. Excuse me. And then the maintenance on our vehicles, which has been a surprise for us this year, runs about $10,000, and that's really good for us. And you'll see on here too, in July, that we purchased some vehicles in the amount of $202,000, but we also have insurance checks that have just come in this month that will be covering a large part of that. We had a new vehicle that was totaled, and our insurance checks will be about $120,000. Will cover a large part of that. So currently, we are in debt about $1,188,000. And compared to this time last year, the same month, we are in debt about $920,000. So we're right on, $920,878,000. So we're right on target this time last year. Does anyone have any questions about the financials?
You might want to explain why you're in debt.
Why what?
Why you're in debt.
Oh, we run in debt usually, and if you'll notice that we run in debt until November when the tax money starts coming in. Our payroll just adds up all year long, and then in November when we receive money from tax commissions and money from fiscal courts or supplement, we catch up and pay our bills at that time. So we will run in the red until November, December, and then we pay all of our bills off at that time. Good point, Commissioner. Thank you. Anyone have any other questions? If I could take just a moment to thank this community, Judge. We've had some tragedies the last month in the Hardin County Sheriff's Office, 2 of which have been our deputies. And we have people in this community who have stepped up and actually paid the bill for one of our deputies who had no insurance, and some of which are in this room. And we are eternally grateful for the help and for all the notes, letters, cards, food, all of that which our office has received. And of course, we couldn't do it without Coroner and 911 and EMS, but I want to personally thank each and every one that has stepped up and has really helped the Sheriff's Office during this time, and we do appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, next is our clerk, Brian Smith.
I will be extremely brief this evening. We'll just go over the delinquent tax sale. Delinquent tax sale falls to the responsibility of the county clerk when folks don't pay their property taxes on time, and I recommend you pay them on time because it doesn't get any cheaper than that. Generated a little over $252,000. That number was down a little bit. Down is good. That means people are paying them on time. It was down just a hair. 214 bills were sold to third parties. We sold almost every tax bill on the lot, which is a little unusual. Usually the smaller ones no one wants to pick up. Those funds are then distributed to the various taxing districts, just like they do it for property taxes, less the fees that go in part to the county attorney and county clerk's office for running tax sale, and I just want to thank our partners in the Sheriff's Office who do a great job at collection, and the County Attorney who is always helpful in making sure people get nudged to pay before it gets sold. Next slide. Election is 60, I had it down here, 69 days away. Our general election plan looks a lot like it did in the May primary. The difference is we're beefing up the centers, having more clerks, more check-in stations. So check-in should be, we hope, adequate. The dates I want to kind of point to right now that are upcoming is the deadline to register to vote is October 7th. That also includes updating your registration. Ran into a good friend of mine in the community. I'd sent him a handwritten personal note, and it got returned to me. I pulled him aside. I said, "You haven't updated your voter registration from the last time you moved." So I texted him the website, govote.ky.gov. He texted me back about 5 minutes. He says, "My address is up to date." I went online, double-checked it, and he's good to go. But if you've moved in the last couple of years, just go back, just go on and check, make sure all of your information is accurate. We've had folks come in and change their party affiliation. That doesn't impact how you can vote in the general election, but it will set you up for the next time we have primary. So if you want to do that, that as well. We're getting a huge number of inquiries about absentee voting, especially from our folks overseas who are serving us. The first date that's available is September 21st. And again, you can request that at govote.ky.gov, or you can always call or come by our office as well. I won't bother to go into the rest of the details because I will remind you all at every opportunity between now and November 5th. So the next slide, a few more details. We are in the process. Our Board of Elections is appointing poll workers. We appear to be on track to fill enough volunteers. We've actually are going to have a lot of folks who have volunteered, and we won't have enough slots for them. I mean, we're having the opposite problem that a lot of counties, a lot of my counterparts are struggling. They can't get enough poll workers, and so they have to supplement with their own staff, which is not really an efficient thing to do. We're facing the opposite problem. I've been flooded. I think I have had 12 requests on the last business day just coming in automatically to us. We're excited about that. We ask people to continue to go ahead. If you want to participate, go ahead and get your name on the list. If we can't use you this time, we'll keep you on the list for future reference. We always set aside a number of alternates because 70% of our poll workers are 70 above, and that's the population that sometimes has surgery, injuries, and illness that kind of creep up unexpected. So if you get assigned to be an alternate, don't be disappointed. We'll probably end up calling you real early in the morning on election day. We have scheduled 2 mock elections in 2 of our elementary schools, and then we're assisting with the student council elections in 2 of our middle schools. I'm excited about that. The best way to teach voter participation is to let kids participate. Yesterday, I was with my election supervisor in Frankfurt. We participated in a nationwide election security tabletop exercise. It was interesting, exciting, and a little bit scary, but we ran through possible scenarios that can happen on an election day, and we are tasked with trying to solve those problems. We'll be doing a similar tabletop exercise here locally with our local partners. It's the first time that's ever been done, to my knowledge, and we're excited about that. It's just good communication can help solve just about any problem we could face on election day. This next thing, unfortunately, got canceled. We were partnering with the Kentucky Department of Protection and Advocacy. I hope to reschedule this to teach a class on disability access and voting. This would be an opportunity for those folks with blindness, deafness, or any other disability to get an opportunity to come in and talk about what it's like to vote. We want everybody to feel like they can vote independently. Voter assistance is always an option for any voter, but if they can vote independently, I think that's best. Again, 69 days until the general election. Govote.ky.gov. You're going to hear me repeat that again and again to register or update your registration. And that's all I have.
All right. Thank you very much. Any questions, comments? All right. Move on then, and there are written reports available for everyone to look at from planning and EMS, E911, and the detention center. Next item on the agenda is a citizens' concerns or comments. Is there anyone that wants to come forward and have any comment, concern that you want to tell us about today? All right. Seeing none, we'll move on to the next item. We have a resolution to vote on today. This is Resolution 2024-173 related to the 2024 property tax rates, of which I've just described. So is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Move and second. Those. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll have roll call.
Squire Clem?
Yes.
Squire Hicks?
Yes.
Squire Muse?
Yes.
Squire Pennington?
Yes.
Squire Saltzman?
Yes.
Squire Thompson?
Yes.
Squire Whitehead?
Yes.
Squire Yates?
Yes.
Judge Stahl?
Yes. Motion passes. All right, next on the agenda is all the items in the consent agenda. And so I'll just roll down through here pretty quickly. The first three items are all financial. We have the treasurer's financial report for July payroll, and then approval of the August claims so far. The next four items, resolutions 167, 168, 169, and 171 are all personnel related with some changes in EMS and finance, road department, and E911. The next item is an approval. This is Resolution 172 related to appointing viewers for road closing. And this is a portion of Christine Way. It's an undeveloped 60-foot right-of-way for a future street in Concord Heights, Section 1 in Elizabethtown. So this will, resolution will appoint viewers to go check that out. The next item is Resolution 174, and this is related to a bid for online auction services for the surplus equipment, vehicles, and other items that we need to get rid of. And Lewis Auction Company is the one that we're voting on today to take care of that for us. Next item is Resolution 175. This is related to a bid for HVAC replacement at our EMS Station 1, which is right next door to us here. There are 5 units involved in this, and we'll be voting for Climate Control of Kentucky to take care of that. It's about $56,000 worth of equipment and labor. And thankfully, all of this will be paid by an energy grant that we were able to get. So 100% of that will be paid for by that grant. The next item is Resolution 176, and this is related to acknowledge that no bids were received for a sale of a surplus 2016 Chevrolet van, cab, and chassis. And so we'll be able to dispose of that. Next items are just Resolution 177 related to financial transfers. Resolution 178 is related to the coroner personnel, and that happens to be the hiring of our new rapid response officer that we just met this evening. Next is approval of Resolution 179 related to a contract with the Kentucky Department of Transportation. This is a flex fund agreement of $383,000 resurfacing on New Salem Church Road. So this is flex fund money that we're getting from the state to take care of that. So congratulations. That's good news. The last 4 items are all approval of our committee meeting minutes that we've had this month. And that pretty much covers all the consent agenda items. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll have roll call.
Squire Clem?
Yes.
Squire Hicks?
Yes.
Squire Muse?
Yes.
Squire Pennington?
Yes.
Squire Saltzman?
Yes.
Squire Thompson?
Yes.
Squire Whitehead?
Yes.
Squire Yates?
Yes.
Judge Hall?
Yes, motion passes. All right, next we'll have some comment time. Does our county clerk have any comments?
County attorney, you mean? I think you called me the clerk.
I'm sorry.
Not quite that.
No, I
But
apologize.
thank you, that's okay.
All right.
Thank you. I think I have thanked most of you, but I wanted to publicly thank the court for the funding for my office for security. Last Monday, as you know, there was a deadly shooting right outside my door, feet from my desk. And one of my staff had just stepped out when it happened. And so I think the sheriff has stepped out, but I wanted to thank him also for putting a very qualified person in that position. I can't imagine what Monday would have been like without Deputy Hawkins, who not only got us locked down, but was the first one on the scene for the 3 victims. And so thank you for that funding. I hope it will continue. That is a day that I don't ever want to repeat. You know, when you're just never prepared for that. So my heart goes out to the children who were present. So I just wanted to thank you all for that. It means a lot.
Thank you. I think it's worth mentioning, too, that you just recently received an award, I believe.
I did. Thank you.
And what was the title of the award? It was like...
County Attorney of the Year.
County Attorney of the Year. Okay, thank you. So let's give her a hand. We're here. It's quite an accomplishment.
Thank you.
So congratulations. All right, now the county clerk. You have anything else?
I don't have anything.
Okay, all right. So we'll move on to magistrates then, and start with Magistrate Yates.
I just want to remind everyone, our next Emergency Service Committee meeting will be Thursday, September 12th at 3:30 p.m.
All right, thank you. Magistrate Saltzman.
I just want to again congratulate Jenny on her award for County Attorney of the Year. And glad to have Brian Smith and Pennington with us. Their fall from an airplane over the weekend.
Was it a fall or
It was a
not?
controlled fall.
Choice.
Thankfully, yes. All right, thank you. Magistrate Whitehead.
Yes, thank you. I'll elaborate on the fall. Actually, these 2 gentlemen did that to support United Way of Central Kentucky, and we appreciate their contributions. They raised a substantial amount of money along with other folks in the community, and we appreciate that effort. Thank you guys so much. Again, Jenny, congratulations. I know this is the second time you've earned this award.
For the first time, I didn't know what I was doing.
That's what you said, but I don't believe it. We're very blessed and fortunate to have you with Hardin County. Thank you so much for all you do. And then finally, I just want to remind everybody about the Resources and Community Support Committee meeting coming up on Monday, September 16th at 3:30. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Magistrate Clem.
Yes, Judge, just remind folks the next Finance Committee meeting is Tuesday, September the 17th at 3:30 across the hall. Everyone's welcome to attend. Also, just a reminder not to drink and drive and not to text and drive.
All right, thank you. Magistrate Pennington.
I just wanted to offer congratulations to Justin. I'm excited to see what you are going to do for our community. Definitely the right fit for the job. Nothing.
All right, thank you. Magistrate Thompson.
I'll just emphasize the quality of our county attorney. I'm very proud to be able to be associated with the Honorable Jenny Oldham, and we thank her for her service in the county.
All right, thank you. Magistrate Hicks.
I have nothing.
All right. Magistrate Muse.
Just remind everybody the next Public Works Committee meetings Wednesday, September the 11th, 3:30 across the hall.
All right, thank you. Next Fiscal Court meeting is Tuesday, September 10th at 3:30 p.m. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any objections? Hearing none, meeting is adjourned.